Hi, I'm Patty Sharf, CPA and partner at Acuity, and we are currently in Q1 of 2024, and e-commerce sellers, just like kind of everybody around this country, they're starting to pay close attention to their wallets. They want to set up systems, especially for like accounting systems, using offshore people or AI or whatever they can to cut costs and make their system set and forget. And I want to talk about kind of the nuances of e-commerce accounting so that you understand the trade-offs between doing something cheaply and doing something well. So stick around. There are lots of stories peppered throughout here based on our years of experience, and hopefully you can learn something. What makes e-commerce accounting so challenging? And it's really the combination of technology and systems, accounting, and then the integration of those together, right? So technology and systems, e-commerce sellers, they are comfortable with tech. They use tech day in and day out, and nobody is more excited about the onset of AI than e-commerce sellers. Okay, any way to like speed things up, do things faster, easier, cleaner, then that is cool with you guys. The issue is you've got so many different systems. You might have an inventory system. You're selling on multiple platforms. You've got sales tax going on. You've got CRM, ad spend, like everything is just all over the place. Sometimes they're connected together. Sometimes they are not. But as a chief process officer at Acuity, process is my love language. And I understand that you need to know what happens from A to B to C to Z in your business to be able to run it efficiently and effectively. And not only that, to capture the data in a way that you're not getting duplicate data, you're not getting junky data, you're like the information is actually working for you. Okay. And you see this a lot in marketing. You see it a lot in accounting. You see it a lot in every element of your business. Okay. So that's technology and systems. Next up, we've got accounting. On the accounting side, you really need to understand once that information comes in, what it means. You need to be able to tell if you're pulling in information, if it's wrong. You need to know if you're looking at garbage. So I have a quick little story about Shopify. When we were posting revenue for our clients, revenue and expenses for Shopify stores, we found that the information we were recording in the accounting system did not match what was showing as revenue on the dashboard for Shopify. Hopefully they've fixed this since then. This was several years ago. But what was happening was the information on the dashboard in Shopify included returns. It included all kinds of extra information. It included orders that had never been fulfilled. Whereas the information that was in the accounting system actually reconciled to the bank account. So we knew that our numbers were right. And the challenge was, how do you make sense of dashboards that don't match your accounting system? And it's only somebody who really understands accounting that can not only detect those differences, but explain why they're there. Another part of accounting is internal controls. Accountants love internal controls, love the idea of segregation of duties, making sure that you are protecting yourselves from fraud. We've seen people who, because they wanted to just save time and speed things up, they would give their credit cards to their suppliers. And then it was the accountants that helped them figure out why they had lost hundreds of thousands of dollars to fraud. For internal control procedures, go check out my video on that. Also related to accounting is sales tax. There are lots of rules and regulations around sales tax, and you need to understand how that information is coming in, how it's recorded on the books, how it's going out. Lots of people mistakenly record sales tax as income when it is not income, it's a liability. And understanding accounting will help you understand that information in your books and help keep you out of trouble. I have another video on sales tax that you can check out here. And not to pick on Shopify, but several years ago, and I'm almost positive that they've fixed this since then, what would happen is if you changed your address in your Shopify account it would assume that you were collecting sales tax in the jurisdiction of your address, which may or may not be the case. And because you have to actually legally register to be able to collect sales tax, they were collecting sales tax on your behalf, even if you didn't have a license. And that's illegal. So, that's not good. But it's accountants who help identify those kinds of issues and point out potential pitfalls for you. Last up is integrations. We've got systems, we've got accounting. The integrations part is what pulls them together. And everybody in the world has an integration. They say, oh, we integrate with QBO. Oh, we integrate with Xero. That might be true, but it's somebody with experience who knows which integrations are good and which integrations are bad that can help you kind of steer the ship on that. So now I'm going to play back on all the other things that I just talked about. Here's a story for you. Years ago, we had somebody who we were doing a cleanup for. And when I took a look at their books, I saw that their revenue was roughly double what they expected it to be. Okay. And it's because of the integration. They were pulling in transactions and they were also pulling in the bank deposits, and things were getting double posted. Now, it was still getting posted wrong, but our client could tell that there was a problem because the numbers just didn't make sense, but they didn't know how to fix it because they didn't quite understand enough, or maybe they understood it, but they didn't have time to dive in and figure it out, right? So that's where the pulling information together really plays a key role in having good information so that you can run your business. And I want to say that happens not infrequently. This happened years ago. It still happens today. We see it all the time. Another issue we have is with inventory management systems. So we've got a system that's dedicated to helping you figure out all your operational issues with your inventory. But if you try to connect that to your accounting system, 99% of the time, it's not going to work well because it wants to push in too much data, the wrong data. It just clutters things up and makes your information really difficult to reconcile. So often we will keep those systems segregated, and then we will just post information manually. And if you're not well-versed either on the integration and or on how to post things manually, you just can't do that successfully. Another one of my favorite stories is when we first got into e-commerce, and I suspect this has happened to most e-commerce accountants when they get started, is they're like, great, there's an integration, and then they connect a system to the accounting software, and then they're pulling in order by order. And then after thousands of orders, the system gets really slow and laggy. And then I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to reconcile this information? I can't. And it's only going to get worse as time goes on. So the integration has to be a smart integration. So what we discovered, thankfully, way back in like 2014 was A2X. And I have a video on A2X. And I'm actually going to do a reboot of this video because they've made a lot of changes since I recorded that one. So that's probably coming sooner rather than later. But what A2X does is they batch the information so that you don't get this laggy experience. You can reconcile your accounts to the penny. It's beautiful and I love it. Okay, so once everything is set up, like let's say you work with an accountant, you get things set up, things are clear, and then you get it all going, then it's set and forget, right? So you don't need an accountant anymore. Here's the problem. As an e-commerce seller, you are at the front edge of things. You are testing things out. You are trying new channels. You are going into new markets. You are doing all kinds of different things. Like TikTok shops, anyone? Like this is what you guys do. You are movers and shakers. And anytime you make any kind of change in your business, your accounting system is going to change. And even if it doesn't, let's say you get everything all set up. It's pretty. It's going to run beautifully. You go on vacation, and the first thing that's going to happen is your automation is going to break. Or your offshore team member has decided to leave, and now you need to replace them and train a new person and all of that. So it's just not scalable to not have somebody who's dedicated to paying attention to making sure that your back office accounting systems are running smoothly. I think I could actually go on for another 15 minutes, but I will spare you. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, comment, and share. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll catch you later.